Welcome to the action. We are diving straight into the massive predictions for the UFC 328 flyweight title fight between Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira. Pro fighters have weighed in, and we break down exactly who is backing Joshua Van to pull off the upset and keep his title. Find out which experts are betting on Van's victory in this explosive matchup.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the media buzz surrounding the upcoming UFC 328 event. We'll cover the official schedule, including media day appearances for headliners Khamzat Chimaev versus Strickland and Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, and where you can catch all the live streams. But the news isn't just about the fights. We turn to the incredible story of UFC legend Matt Hughes, who has turned a grisly finger injury into a classic fighter joke. Discover the shocking details of his accident and how this tough veteran is using humor to show the world his incredible resilience. Finally, we get the full breakdown on the Chimaev versus Strickland showdown at UFC 328. This rivalry is boiling over, with documented animosity and threats flying around. Don't miss a second of this intense battle. Tune in now to watch how this bitter rivalry is set to elevate to new heights, and let us know your predictions in the comments below. The UFC 328 event in Newark, New Jersey, is set to feature a high-stakes card, headlined by a flyweight title defense for Joshua Van against Tatsuro Taira. The matchup is heavily favored towards Taira, with him listed as a -186 favorite on FanDuel, while Van is considered a +142 underdog. Ahead of the bout, professional fighters have weighed in on the predictions for the contest. A majority of the analysts tipped Joshua Van to secure the victory and retain his title. Kyle Nelson, UFC lightweight, suggested Van due to his youth and well-rounded skills. Adrian Yanez firmly backed Van, stating it would be Joshua Van all day, every day. John Castinda expressed support for Van, noting that his previous injury might have made the fight more interesting, and hoped Van could secure a standing decision win. Colby Thickness predicted a quick finish, suggesting Van would finish Taira on the feet within the first 3 rounds. Modestas Bukauskas also leaned towards Van, believing his striking would prevail despite the recent postponement of the fight. Conversely, Chase Hooper and Vince Morales favored Tatsuro Taira, with Hooper pointing to Taira's grappling as a potential advantage, and Morales suggesting Taira was even more favored following Van's injury. The predictions highlight the contrasting perspectives on the fight's dynamics, as the two combatants prepare for a pivotal clash. MORRISTOWN, NJ, preparations are underway for UFC 328, scheduled to take place this Saturday at the Prudential Center in Newark. The event will be broadcast live on Paramount+. In the lead-up to the main event, several high-profile athletes on the card are set to engage with the media. This includes the headliners Khamzat Chimaev facing Strickland and Joshua Van taking on Tatsuro Taira. Media availability is scheduled for Wednesday, where these athletes will speak with reporters from the host hotel. A live stream of these media sessions will be available on channel YouTube starting at 11:30 a.m. ET, which corresponds to 8:30 a.m. PT. Fans who missed the live broadcast are advised to check the provided links for archived videos of each media day session. UFC legend Matt Hughes has turned a severe finger injury into a classic fighter joke, showcasing his characteristic resilience. The former welterweight champion revealed he lost the top portion of his middle finger in a mysterious accident, sharing a graphic image from a hospital bed before using humor to reassure fans. Hughes, 52, did not disclose the cause of the injury, leaving the circumstances unclear. However, he appeared in good spirits, smiling in the photo and employing humor to manage the situation. "Luckily, God's been real good to me," Hughes wrote on social media, stating he was left with 9 fingers to work with. The post quickly resonated within the MMA community, partly due to the severity of the injury and partly because the caption perfectly mirrored Hughes' known personality. Hughes has built a reputation as one of the toughest athletes in mixed martial arts, defined by his durability and physicality. The injury drew immediate reactions from peers and fans. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping responded with shock, while Alan Joubin offered a message of well wishes. Former Strikeforce champion Josh Thompson highlighted the irony, noting that Hughes had fewer injuries during his active competition. Hughes embraced the dark humor, responding to a joke about being safer inside the octagon by saying, "Who says retirement is boring?" This sentiment captured the tone of the situation. The injury was serious, but Hughes framed it as another challenge, demonstrating that life post-fighting can still present brutal surprises. Hughes remains a defining figure of the UFC's earlier era, establishing himself as a two-time welterweight champion who used dominant wrestling and pressure to defeat elite opponents including Georges St. Pierre, B.J. Penn, and Royce Gracie. This current injury contrasts sharply with his legendary career. The context of Hughes' toughness is underscored by a previous, life-threatening incident in 2017 when a train accident left him with severe brain trauma and internal bleeding, requiring a 19-day medically induced coma. Hughes later described this as a grade 3 diffuse axonal brain injury, one of the most severe forms of traumatic brain damage, and detailed his extensive recovery, including relearning basic tasks like walking and brushing his teeth. This history explains his reaction to the finger injury. Having survived a life-threatening event, Hughes' ability to laugh in the face of hardship remains intact. For now, the cause of the accident remains unknown, but his enduring toughness and capacity for humor are clear. The highly anticipated clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland at UFC 328 in Newark, New Jersey, promises to be an explosive confrontation, potentially elevating their intense rivalry to unprecedented levels. Chimaev, who holds a perfect 15-0 record, and the middleweight title, faces Strickland in a bout that fans anticipate will be a defining moment for both competitors. The animosity between the two fighters is well documented and reportedly fierce. Accounts suggest a deep-seated mutual dislike, with Strickland reportedly threatening Chimaev and his team should they attempt to confront him during the fight week. This palpable hatred is expected to inject significant intensity into the match, positioning UFC 328 as one of the must-watch events of recent memory. Fans looking to catch the action can tune in to watch the event. Information regarding live streaming and TV channel access for UFC 328, featuring the Chimaev vs. Strickland matchup, is available through various platforms.